Okay, so am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
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 sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
let me share the screen now. So is it visible to all of you?
Yes, it is
Yes,
visible.
sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, so right now we are recording also. So this time I will not make a mistake because last time actually I switched off my microphone, so it was recorded, but it was all muted. So there was no point in giving that recording. So I will try to record that session again by this weekend, and let us see if I can do that, and then I will upload it. So
Sir,
yes, please.
sir, if possible, please make a full screen.
Oh, okay. Full screen. Oh, so the problem with this particular software is that I cannot make it full screen. This particular, because I'm using my iPad to project it on my MacBook, so I cannot make it big. So is it a problem for you people to view it? Is it coming small or something like that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
Actually,
sir.
No, sir.
Sir.
sir, actually, we can do full screen. Below that
Ah,
Okay.
button
Okay.
is
sir,
there,
Yes.
in
three
screen
dots.
layout, after giving there, you can change it to spotlight.
Uh, how to do it? Can you just let me know?
No, sir, it's for a user. Means
Okay.
if we are seeing it, we
Uh,
can change layout to
okay. Okay. Okay, from your side, if
spotlight
it is
mode.
possible, you please do it because from my side, I cannot actually change this layout. This layout is fixed. I cannot, move it because it will move, in a proportionate manner. So it will keep this dimension same always. So it will not make it a full screen. So it will be a problem for me also. Okay. So you have to change from your side, make it full screen, and if still there is a problem, do let me know. Then I will try to find out the solution. Like if it is possible from my side, I will see it. Okay. Okay. So today this is lecture 4. So in this lecture, what we will do is we will actually understand the concepts of power and energy, and we will try to see how to calculate power and energy for various elements that we have already discussed in our last class, like for example inductors, capacitors, resistors, voltages, and current sources. So we will understand their power and energy relationships, and we will see, like, which of them are always absorbing power, which of them are delivering power. So we will understand these concepts in detail today. So if you if you recall the passive sign convention that I was already talking so many times in our earlier lectures, if you recall that, then what it is that is, you have this, a terminal, A and B here. So this is the terminal, and the device that I am writing down in between A and B can be anything. So that's why I am writing it as a box. So it can represent anything, R, L, C. So whatever elements that we have already discussed, so it can represent that. And what we had discussed earlier was that if we define a terminal relationship between the potentials as plus and minus, then we always assume the current to flow inside the plus terminal, and we take it as, plus I, and we move it inside the plus terminal. So this is the passive sign convention that we normally follow. So in this case, actually, the power delivered through this element, this is the element that I was discussing. So the power delivered to this element is represented as V and V times I. So basically, this is in terms of the DC voltages. If the voltages are not varying, even the current is not varying, in that case, the power delivered is V times I. But if it's a alternating voltage where the currents and the voltages are varying with respect to time, and that time, what you can do is you can represent the power as a function of time, and it's given like this. So here the voltages and the currents are varying with time. So we will understand all these voltages and currents and their behavior as a function of time when we will discuss the AC analysis in our subsequent classes. But for this particular session, or so for this particular 4 or 5 or 10 lectures, or maybe 15 lectures, we will be considering basically the DC signals. So this T can be omitted over there, but in some situations it will be there when we will be discussing the capacitors and the inductors. But there the voltages and currents as a function of time will not be that heavy on analysis. We will discuss the analysis part of these later on. So this is basically, power, as a power, it's a fixed value when voltages and currents are the DC voltages. But if a voltage and currents are the function of time, then your power will be P of t. So it's also a function of time. So in this is related to the power, and regarding the values, like if your power evaluates to be greater than 0, let us say. So if the power value comes out to be greater than 0, then we say that particular element is absorbing power. It depends whether it's a resistor, capacitor, inductor. We don't care. But if power is greater than 0, we take this convention that it absorbs the power. And if the power is less than 0, that is, if it is negative, then what we say is it's delivering power. So this is the normal strategy that we will follow when we will be doing and solving some numericals. So when you will see power as negative, so what you will assume is, what you will interpret that negative value is that power is delivered by that particular element, and if it is greater, then it's absorbing. And along with that, if you want to calculate the energy, actually, so energy of an element that it delivers or consumes is basically is evaluated between the power curves. So basically what you have is, you have a function of time t, the power, you integrate that in between t1 and t2. So what you do is you are actually integrating the power curve, and what you get as an output is the energy that is being delivered or absorbed. So this is the normal, this is the equation for energy, and it's always evaluated, and the units of energy are joules. So these all things you know already, and for power it's watts. So, and so this is the general concept. So I will be now going more into the details of evaluating all these powers and energies now. So now, for example, if we have a n terminal element, so again I will be drawing a general box like this. So this box, what I'm saying is it's a circuit. So by drawing a box like this means I am I'm generalizing the circuits. So in this box you can have anything, like you can have R, L, and C, something like this as one of the circuits, or it can have only resistors as the circuit. So what I am trying to do is I am representing all these different variants of the circuit as a simple box, which is a generalized representation of all the circuits that you can observe in this course. So this box is actually representing that, and you know that we have several terminals inside this box, because as you will have a circuit, right? So for every circuit you will have some currents going into it. So that is what I am showing over here, and these are the terminals that I am representing here, 1, 2 and 3, and then you have nth terminal here, so I'm representing it by n. And then, as you all know, that for each of the terminals that you will be seeing in the circuit, all these will be associated with the voltages and the currents. So the first terminal that you will see has some, let us say, has a voltage V1 and a current I1. The second terminal, let us say, we have a voltage V2 and current I2, and so on. So we have n terminals, and all of them have their associated voltages and the currents. And what we are saying is, we are saying that all the currents are going inside this particular in this particular box, which actually is a generalized representation of any electrical circuit that you will find in circuit theory books. So if I want to write the power consumption by this particular box, then what it will be? It will be basically summation of Vk, Ik, and your K is actually running from 1 to n. So you have to actually sum up all the associated voltages and the currents of the kth node. So this is as simple as that. So what you will do is you will just sum them up, that is the voltages and associated currents for that particular node, and till the nth node and its associated voltage and current. So what you get as the answer will be the total power consumed by this circuit. So now the important thing is, what I want to discuss is the referencing of these voltages. So as you know earlier, what I was telling is, like, if you have a reference voltage VAB, then this reference voltage, this voltage VAB in between the two terminals A and B with respect to B is basically nothing but VA minus VB. So this type of problem we have already discussed in our lecture 1, where we were discussing about the relative potentials of the voltages. And you know that with respect to B, the voltage VA is calculated as VA minus VB. And if you want to calculate VBA, then it's as simple as that. So it will be negative of VAB. Then you will be calculating with respect to A now for this particular term. So what I am trying to do here now is that I am doing a very simple analysis here to show that power, you can calculate power with respect to any terminal if you take it as your reference. So what I am trying to show now will be that if you take this as your reference, then the power that you will calculate will be same as if you take this as your reference, or if you take 2 as your reference, or if you take 1 as the reference. So the power calculation for any circuit, any generalized circuit, is independent of the reference point that you take out of these n terminals. So this is what I will be trying to show you now. So as you know that the current is basically, all the direction of the currents is inside this box. So what we say as per the KCL, Kirchhoff current law, is that if you have a current flowing into the node, so what you do is you actually sum up the currents that are flowing into the node. We will discuss about the KCL later on also, but I hope you know this idea also from your 11-12 classes. So you already know that if there is a node, then all the currents which are entering into the node are all summed up, and they are equal to the currents which are leaving the node. So this is basically a general concept of KCL. So same thing actually, so right now here we have a node, so we are doing KCL on node, but same thing actually applies on surfaces also. So by what that means is, if you have a surface like this, so this is a surface basically because you have a very big circuit inside it, and what we are doing is we are enclosing it across using this bigger balloon or bigger surface or bigger cloud. So what I am calling this as is surface. So if you enclose a bigger circuit inside the surface, so what is the interpretation of KCL here? The interpretation of KCL is that whatever current is going inside this surface like this are all summed up to be equal to the currents which are leaving outside this surface. So this actually the KCL also applies to surfaces also. So here we will be trying to use the concept of surface analogy as compared to the node 1 which is given over here. So if that is the case, then what you can do is you can actually write I1 plus I2 plus all the currents which are entering into the surface equal to 0. Because here there is no current which is leaving the surface. As you can see, all the currents are actually going inside the surface and they are not leaving. So if they are not leaving, so we will be actually summing up all the currents and make it equal to 0. So now what I can do is I can actually represent IN as minus of I1 plus I2 plus all the currents which are there. So I'm just doing what? I'm just putting all the equation, all the components of the current which are here to the right side. So whatever is there, IN is on the left side only, and the rest of the currents which are there on the left side are shifted to the right, and it's given like this. As simple as that. So it's just a simple algebraic manipulation. So now what I will do is I will actually do what? I will substitute this value here. So in this particular equation and in particular this particular variable, so I will replace IN by this equation. So if I do like that, then what I will get is V1 I1 plus V2 I2 plus dot dot dot, and then we have Vn, and then I will replace this by this equation, so it will be minus I1 minus I2 dot 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 minus in minus 1. So just substituted it, so there is nothing fancy about it here, so just a normal substitution. So now what I will do, I will actually collect the terms which are with I1. So here you can see I can collect the terms with I1, I can then collect the terms with I2, and then I can easily collect the terms with in minus 1. So if we do that, then what we will get is V1 minus Vn times I1, then we have V2 minus Vn times I2, and similarly what you have here is V so it will be what?
Sir, Vn minus 1
VN
minus 10.
minus 1 minus VN.
Right, so it will be like this, right? So this will be in minus 1. So as you can see, we have this difference in the potentials, and you know from this concept which I have told you here, right? So you can write it like this: V1 and I1, then you have V2 and I2, and similarly you have Vn minus 1 and in minus 1. So as you can see now, this nth terminal can be anything, right? So it can be right now I have selected it as this particular one. You can select this one or this one or this one. So answer of the power consumption by this circuit will always remain the same. So this derivation shows you that whatever voltage you take as your reference, whether this one, this one, this one, or this one, it doesn't matter in terms of the calculation of the power, it will always be the same. So this is the interpretation that I wanted to tell you. So let us solve one simple numerical based on this power consumption thing, and then this will clear most of the doubts if you have any. So
Sir, can you just say again what you have written on the last line?
this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you want to know more about it? Like you want to know what interpretation I was telling?
No, sir, can you just say what you have written? I cannot read it.
Oh, okay. So the thing is, the power is basically V1N. So 1 is because V1 minus Vn is what? It's basically with respect to N, you are actually
Okay,
calculating
okay.
the differential.
Relative,
Yeah,
relative. Yeah,
relative potential.
yeah, okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, okay, sir.
So let us solve one simple question. Like for example, if you have a question like this, so it might come in your exam also something similar. So let us say you have a circuit like this. Let me draw it first. So all these alphabets that I am writing over there are actually the elements of the circuit, and it can be anything, like as I was telling you earlier, it can be R, L, or C. So these are the polarities that I am marking out on these terminals. So here you can see all the plus minus what I am writing on the across these terminals are actually the voltages, and the, as you know, as per the passive sign convention, we have to define the currents also. So what we are doing is now we are defining the currents here. So this is basically the direction of the currents that I am representing here. So see, the passive sign convention do say that you have to flow the currents inside the positive terminal, but as per the questions you can assume any direction, and depending upon the passive sign convention we have to see whether what value of power will come. So we will understand all these concepts, but these are the currents which are actually defined for each of these terminals like this. So we have current directions like this. So this is the question, and you have a small table on the right side where you will be given a voltage and the currents like this. So you have elements here listed down. You have A, then B, C, D, E, F, G, and then H. So here we have 120 minus 10, 129.
Sir,
Yes.
so you did say that according to passive sign convention, the current will flow from positive to negative inside the device.
Yes.
So in the question itself, it is given like suppose in B we have taken from negative to positive. So it is given in the question. That's why we
Yeah, it's
have taken it
actually,
like that, right?
yeah, it's actually given in the question like this. So we have to, keep in mind the passive sign convention and then reformulate this as per the passive sign convention. I will tell you that. Don't worry. Okay. Just a,
Okay,
just
sir.
a
Yeah.
second.
Sir,
Yes.
so you said that the power does not depend on the reference point. Could you please explain that again?
See, what happens is, suppose a circuit has so many nodes, right? I hope you know the concept of node. Like whenever there is a resistance and capacitor or R or L or C connected to each other, the joint point is basically called as node. So, you have a circuit with multiple nodes. So you can take actually any one of these nodes as your ground terminal, as I was telling you in your first, class. As I also showed you in the simulation, like if you do not put a ground terminal, which is your reference terminal, your circuit will not evaluate. So that ground terminal, what I was telling here in this interpretation was that you can take any of the nodes of that circuit as ground. So it's not specifically that you have to take a specific node as ground only. You are free to choose any of the nodes of the circuit as ground, but the interpretation is that whatever node you take it as your ground, and if you calculate the voltage and currents and all that evaluation on in that circuit for each of these elements and then sum them up, the power value will always be same irrespective of whatever node you take it as your ground. That is what I was telling. Okay.
Okay, sir, thank you.
So G is 124. Okay, so you have this question here. So here you can see on the right side we have some currents represented as well as the voltages for the elements that we have here. So like for example, if we have this A which has plus and minus terminal like this, and the current is actually represented like this. So the voltage across it is given as 120 and the current is minus 10. So what we have to do is in these type of questions, if we ask you to tell us that which of the elements are absorbing power and which of them are delivering power. So in these cases what you have to see is you have to first of all bring into your mind the picture of passive sign convention. And the passive sign convention is what? The passive sign convention is you have a element, a two terminal element, and the current has to be assumed to go inside the plus terminal. So if this is the situation, if this is the thing that you have in your in your circuit, and the current is going inside this terminal, and if this is the thing, if you are finding it out, then the power is given as plus Vi. But if you see other than this, like if you see the current is going out of this plus terminal, so in that situation what you do is basically what you are saying is it will be minus Vi. So going out of this plus terminal means going inside the negative terminal, same thing, right? Because when you apply KCL, whatever goes inside will come out, right? So in this particular situation, when it is going out of the plus terminal, is equivalent to saying going inside the negative terminal. Again, for both these cases, you will have minus as your, you have to take outside Vi. And similarly, in the second case, if the current is going inside the plus terminal is equivalent to the current going out of the negative terminal. So for both these cases, you will have plus Vi as the uh, convention in case of passive sign. So you have to keep this thing in mind. So based on this, if you see this particular thing, is it following a passive sign convention?
No.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
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 it
Yes,
is
sir.
following a
yes,
passive
sir.
sign convention. So if it is following a passive sign convention, as you can see, current is going inside the plus terminal. So you don't have to worry about it. What you have to do, you have to just write P is equal to plus VI. P is power given by A as plus VI. So now you have to just take the voltages and the current which are listed down in the table. So the voltage is given as plus 120 and current is given as minus 10.
1200 volts.
So the value comes out to be what? Minus 120. So what it means is that it is actually delivering power. So it is actually delivering power. So that is important thing here. So this means
Sir, this is 1200.
2200.
yeah, it's okay. See, the thing is, what I was telling is about the concept. So yeah, it's 1 minus 1200, but you keep the concept in mind, like what I'm telling here, rather than going into the calculation part. You just see that what I was telling here is as per the convention sign. So if you follow that, things will become clear. So for example here, so this particular thing we are seeing that it's giving you a negative power. That means it is actually delivering power here. So now, what about D? Is it following a passive sign convention?
No.
No, sir.
Yeah, so it's not following a passive sign convention because it is entering into the minus terminal. So it is somewhere the case which I was telling you here. If you are entering and going out, so it's equal to minus. So it's not following the passive sign convention. So what you will do is you will write it as P is equal to minus VI first, and then you substitute the values corresponding to the D part, and that is equal to minus 10. So again, watts. So it's
1080.
so again it's basically delivering power here. So it's also delivering power. So let us take one more example here. So like for example here you have this. Is it following the passive?
No.
No, sir.
So it's not following. So what is the
No,
answer
sir.
here? Is it absorbing or delivering? Can you tell me?
Delivering.
Delivering.
No, it's not
Delivering.
delivering. It is absorbing. Why? Because you see the power consumed by H. First of all, you see the passive sign convention. So you already saw that it's not following a passive sign convention. So that means you have to put a value of minus here with respect to the thing, right? VH, IH. So once you have kept the minus here, now you are free to put the values, because now what you will do is you see the value of H now it is minus 220, and then you see the value of minus 5 here. So what is the answer?
So negative, so delivering.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yes, sir. It's
Right.
Sir,
Sir, it's delivering.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
delivering.
Yeah, right. Delivering, right, yeah.
Minus 1100.
Yeah, it's delivering. So I hope you understand the concept now, right? With respect to the negative and the positive things. So
Yes, sir.
in this way, what happens is some variation in these type of questions can be asked to you. So this is related to a simple power calculation thing that I was telling you. Okay. So once this is done,
Sir?
yes.
सर ये डिलीवरिंग पावर का मतलब क्या है, मीन्स के वो जो माइनस होगा वही होगा ना?
हाँ, जो माइनस है it will be delivering. So it's like it's somewhere down the line. I will tell you the details, but you can safely assume that these things are voltages or current sources. But capacitors
Sir, it
also.
means-
Yeah, please.
Sir, it means it is discharging self.
No, discharging. Yeah, the thing is, if you are assuming them as a ideal voltage and current source, then it's then they are the active elements which we assume that they are not discharging, right? Slowly they are discharging, but it takes time. But in case of capacitors and inductors, if you say that they are delivering, that means it's discharging. Yeah, so it will give power to the rest of the circuit, and when there is no voltages and the current sources applied, then it's in some sort of discharging phase.
Okay, sir.
So now we will discuss the power and energy calculations for the various elements that we had discussed last time. So in that line of study, the first element that we saw was resistors. So you already know for resistors they are always absorbing power, and the reason for that is as you know that the power consumed by the resistor can be represented as V times I if it's a DC voltage, and if it's a varying voltage and current, then you represent it as Vt times It, right? And these things can also be represented in terms of if you put the Ohm's law thing here. So if you put V is equal to IR, let us say, as a substitution here, so the power can also be represented as I square R or V square R. And similarly, in these situations also, the power can be represented as I square TR, and then you have V square TR. Please mute your mics. So whosoever is there, just mute the mic. So what you see here is your power and your power is actually square of these terms, that is voltage and current. So these are always positive quantities until unless your resistor is negative. It can be the case that your resistor is negative. We can in your higher courses you can study this later on, that there is a chance that we can create resistors as negative also. So until unless resistor is not negative, what happens is the power consumptions are always positive. So resistors always absorbs power in the elements in the circuit thing. So
Sir,
yes,
sir, negative resistors means it emits power.
negative resistor means they are actually not possibly realized. We cannot realize them using these type of resistors, like you put it as a resistor, right? Whatever you have seen in your labs, these resistors are physical resistors, but the negative resistors are not implemented using this. So they are implemented using active devices like I don't want to go into the details, but it's BJTs and MOSFETs. So all these devices are actually used, and op amps, which we will discuss in this course. So these devices are basically used to implement these negative resistors. So somewhere down the line, yeah, they will absorb power or they will deliver power if you have a negative resistor. So if you see the voltage and current relationship here, I versus V plot for the resistors. So I hope everybody knows that. So it will be like a straight line like this. So in this particular situation where you have a straight line passing through origin, so what can you say about this region? If I want to focus in this region, what can you say about the resistor? Whether is it absorbing power or delivering power here? Who can tell me this?
Absorbing power.
Absorbing.
Why it is absorbing power?
Absorbing
Because
power.
it is positive, so it is
Because
the
the
slope is positive.
Right.
The slope is
Slope is
positive.
positive.
Area of the
That's why.
gap is positive.
No, what you can say is it's not about slope thing. It's about what you are saying as power is V times I. So you can see the voltage is positive here in this quadrant, and current is also positive here in this quadrant. So whatever element, some hypothetical element, if it is also there, and if its characteristics, by hypothetical element means neither R nor L nor C. There can be some other hypothetical element, let us say, and whose characteristics is like this, let us say. I am not saying that this element will exist, but let us draw that characteristics, and if I say that this is the hypothetical element, then you can be pretty sure and you can say that this is also absorbing power, and the reason for that is that both voltage and the current has positive value. So that's why it's lying in the first quadrant, and you can be pretty sure that in the first quadrant, whatever characteristics will lie, it will always absorb power. And how about the third quadrant? What can you
Sir,
say?
still it will absorb.
Absorb.
Right.
Absorbing.
Good. So
Absorbing.
here also you will always absorb a power. So maybe in later down the course you will find one circuit. I will just give you a quick glimpse of that. So this is basically a diode. I guess I think you must have studied this. Must have
Yes,
seen
sir.
this, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
so
sir.
this characteristics
sir.
is like this, right? It's like this, right? So must have seen in your undergrad in your 11th,
Yes, sir.
12th. So what can you say about this?
It also absorbs power.
Right.
Absorbing it.
Yeah. So this is also absorbing power because your
Absorbing
voltage and currents are all in the first and third quadrant. So it's always absorbing power. So this is always absorbing power. Okay. So this was related to
So,
the
sir,
yes.
sir,
Your voice
in
your
general, we can
your
draw the conclusion that if the sun.
your voice was
Hello,
breaking. Can you
am
again
I
tell me?
audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Am I audible, sir,
Yes.
now?
Yes. Yes.
So in general, can we draw a conclusion that if the signs of V and I, the current and voltage, are same, then the power will always be absorbing, or that is not always true?
No, it is always true. So if this is the situation where current and voltages have always a same sign, whether it's minus or plus, it's conventionally taken as absorbing power. Okay.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. So regarding the energy, you can easily calculate that. So energy is again integration of the power. So it's basically, if you are integrating with respect to, integrating the power, then it will be in between the two intervals T1 and T2. You can use the terms of power here. If it's a function of time, then it will be V square T dt, and you have a R downside. And if it's a constant voltage V, then it will come out, and then you have an integration of the time with respect to T1 and T2. So this is with respect to energy. So energy is basically the integration of the power in a finite interval of time. So this is with respect to the resistors. So let's move to capacitors now and see how they behave as per the discussion that we are doing for the resistors. So in case of capacitors, what happens is you have uh, the relationship is same for both of them, like whether it's a resistor R, L or C, the power calculation is always same. If it's a DC power and if it's an AC power that is varying with time, then you have VT, IT. So the important thing now is that in case of capacitors, you know that current is basically represented as a function of capacitor voltage as this. So once you have a current relationship which you already know for the capacitor voltage with the capacitor voltage here given like this, you can actually substitute that value here. So what you get now is actually nothing but CVT dVT by dt. So this is the power consumption by the capacitor. So if this is the situation, so now we will see how this capacitor power will change as per the voltage variation. So let us take a curve like this where you have a voltage like this, and let me take some arbitrary voltage diagram like this. So this is an arbitrary voltage across the capacitor, VCT rather, you can say like that. So if I draw like this, what can you say about the capacitor, like where it is absorbing and delivering power? Who can tell me this?
Sir, when it's
Sir, in
going
the
upward,
first quadrant,
In
it
first
will
quadrant,
absorb
it
power,
will
and
be
in
First
when
quadrant
fourth
it's
is
quadrant,
going
absorbing
it
down,
will
and
deliver
it's
power.
absorbing.
fourth quadrant
Okay,
it
one by
will
one.
be
टाइम एक्सेस एंड व्हेन द स्लोप इज पॉजिटिव
हाँ
When the
Okay,
slope
I'll
is
just
going
just keep this
positive,
simple. Just a second. Just a
Sir, where
second.
the slope and value
Slope
of
is
V both are
positive,
positive.
the
सर
power
इट
is
डिपेंड्स ऑन द स्लोप
heavy.
Yes.
depends on
Sir,
the
depends
The
upon the
slope as
quadrant.
well as the value of
क्वाड्रेंट और
voltage.
स्लोप दोनों पे डिपेंड करेगा। अगर
So
फर्स्ट क्वाड्रेंट में होगा और पॉजिटिव स्लोप होगी तो एब्जॉर्बिंग होगा, और अगर फोर्थ क्वाड्रेंट में होगा और नेगेटिव स्लोप होगी तभी भी एब्जॉर्बिंग
right.
होगा।
So the thing is, it actually depends upon the quadrant basically. So by saying quadrant means you have to focus on the value of VCT, because somewhere down the line VCT is there, which is the quadrant is giving the polarity of this information, and the derivative of the slope is also included here. So we have to see the derivative part also. So let us see now. So I am just dividing these curves into four parts. So this is basically 0 here, and then we have this particular segment T1, and then we have a T2 here, and then let us say it's T3 here, and then you have T4 here. So in this part, what can you say about the voltage and the derivative of the slope?
Both positive.
Positive.
both
So
positive.
positive.
so how about the
Both
power?
positive.
How
Both
about the
positive.
power? So it will
absorbing.
absorb.
Absorbing.
Power is
Absorbing.
Yes. So power is absorbed because voltage is greater than 0, as well as the derivative also is greater than 0. So it absorbs power in this part. In this part. And then let us see the other part here. So in this part, what will happen? The voltage.
Releasing power.
Power is delivering. Power delivering.
So voltage is greater than zero, but the derivative is less than zero, so it's delivering power here. Because the product will be negative, as simple as that. So, and for this part,
Delivering.
Absorbing.
so it's absorbing here. And the reason is simple, because here voltage is negative as well as the derivative is also negative.
Both are negative.
So that's why it's absorbing. And for this, as simple as that, it will be always delivering this side. Right? So you can see that depending upon the situation, actually capacitor is either absorbing or delivering. So it can play any roles. But but what we have seen normally is, like, the voltages and the current sources are the universal sources which always deliver power, right? Because they are the ones which are actually deriving the circuit. They are actually the one which are forcing the currents and the voltages in the circuit. They are giving power to the rest of the elements, right? So what we normally say is they are the active elements, which we discussed last time in the course. But why, in this particular case where we have a capacitor, it is giving and delivering both. So why we are not saying capacitor as the active element? Can anyone tell me that? Because capacitor is also playing a role of delivering power, right?
Sir, could you please repeat your question?
See, my question is,
9.5
can you all please mute your mic first? Just a second, I'll mute. Okay. So what my question is, like in case of batteries, like voltages or the current sources, we have seen that they always deliver power. They deliver power to the rest of the circuits R, L, and C. So we call them as active elements because they always deliver power. But in case of capacitors, we were saying that they were passive elements which always absorbs power. But here we are seeing that in some part of the curve like this, it's also delivering power. So can we say that capacitor is an active element? That is my question.
No, sir.
Why?
No, sir.
Why?
Because capacitor first need to charge to deliver power.
Okay. So
Yes.
It needs to first absorb.
Whatever power is absorbed is delivered by capacitor.
the important thing is this delivery of the
power is absorbed then delivered.
No, it's not that. The important thing is,
It's not continuously
yes,
delivering.
good. What's your name?
Yes, sir, Priyanshi.
Yeah, good, Priyanshi. So actually the thing is, it is not continuously delivering. It is actually delivering in some transient phases here. So basically, because the continuity is not there, so that's why we are not saying it as active elements. That's why we are saying it as passive elements. So there is no continuity in the power delivery. It's happening in phases. So that is the reason. Okay. Okay. So
Sir?
yes.
So the capacitor gets charged. That's why it does not deliver continuously.
Yes, because it will take some charge and absorbs energy, right, at that time. And then after that, if you connect it to some other circuit where there is no, charging happening on that capacitor, so it will start delivering its own, charge, whatever it is stored in the earlier situation. So somewhere down the line, this delivering of the power is transient. It's basically in a very small phases. And after a while, it will completely go away, right? So that transient phase, because of that situation, we do not call it as active device. It's a passive device.
But sir,
Yeah.
sir, in AC voltages, they first deliver then absorb. So, but then also we call it as active.
Who say
So-
that capacitors are called as active elements?
No, sir, AC voltages.
Yeah, in AC voltages, see, the important thing is the voltages are varying, right? It's giving, and the power delivered. So the important thing is about the power. So you have to always see the average power in that. If you calculate the RMS value of that, so it will somewhere down the line will be positive, right? So it will be always delivering power.
Sir,
Yes.
in some circuits we see that voltage sources are getting charged.
Yes,
So
it
how
is
can we
there.
say that they are active element?
Yeah, so we will discuss that also. We have that example. So in that case, we have absorbing as well as the delivering situation. In that also we have, but the important thing is in the voltages, what happens is, somewhere down the line they are active devices because
Sir, can we say that active
the important
devices?
thing is they are always giving a fixed value of voltages on the line, right? So it's not that its value will decrease with time. Here, in the case of capacitors, the voltages that are trapped onto the capacitor will decrease with time, right? It becomes zero in very quick form, right? It within a seconds or within maybe depending upon the discharging phase, it will go down, right? But in case of voltages, it's not like that. They normally remain constant and they deliver power at will. We will see that case also where we have voltages which are absorbing as well as delivering power.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us do one small question on the capacitor part. So here, if you have a waveform like this for the voltages Vt, and here if you have a profile like this, where you have this is 50, this is 100. So this is the voltage across the capacitor, and this value is, let us say, 2. Here you have 1, and then 3, 4, and 5. So if you have this voltage source Vt applied across the capacitor, and the capacitor value is 5 millifarads, let us say. Now if you want to calculate the current, power and energy profiles for this particular curve, what will that be? So
It is first absorbing.
so in this case, what happens is,
Till 2 second it is absorbing, 2 to 3 it is
Then it is
actually
emitting. And
emitting,
then
and
it is
after that
further
it is
absorbing the
zero.
power.
Zero.
right. So the important thing is, here if you want to calculate the capacitor IC current, so what it will be? It will be C dVc by dt. So this is the capacitor current, right? So here you can see the change in the voltage dVc is what? The change in the voltage is 100, and then the time it takes to do that for this particular situation here. In this particular situation, the time it takes is 2
2
seconds,
seconds.
and then the capacitor value that you have is 5 millifarads here. So once you have this, what will happen about the current? The current will be actually coming out to be 0.25 till this. So this will be the value of current here. It will be 0.25. And then you can calculate for the second part here, this 2 to 3 part. So in that situation, your value will be minus 0.25. So this is the profile for the current. So now you can observe one important thing which I was telling you earlier, that the capacitors, the voltage across the capacitors cannot be discontinuous. So that's why we are putting it as ramp here. If you see this, the capacitor voltage cannot be discontinuous, so it's uniform like this. We are slowly increasing it. We are not increasing it like this because this is not allowed. So you can see here, but discontinuity in the capacitor current is allowed. So here you can see the discontinuity is allowed in the capacitor current, but it is not allowed in the voltage. So we already discussed this in detail in our last lecture. And you know that if you increase the amplitude, and if you increase the slope of this particular voltage profile, the derivative will become discontinuous, which is not allowed. So now it's as simple as that. You can calculate for power and for your energy. It's very easy, right? You can have, you can divide the segments and you can go for power as V into I, and then for energy you can easily calculate it as half CV square. But to calculate the energy formula, I just want to do that derivation here, which is basically nothing but it's energy of the capacitor, which I think you must be knowing it. Half CV square, but if you are integrating between the two intervals T0 and T1, and this is the basic formula which we were discussing last time. So now basic,
Sir,
yes,
so can you repeat how 0.25 came?
this one.
Yes, sir.
This is because here you can see, right, the voltage is actually varying from 0 to 2 volts. So the difference in the voltage is how much? The DVC part. DVC is the derivative, right?
100.
So it's 100, right? So 100 is this side. And then you have, difference in the time, right? On the horizontal axis it's 2. So 2 comes down. And then what happens is you have a 5 millifarad capacitor. So the capacitor current will be C times dVc by dt. So on that basis it's 0.25.
Okay, sir. I was not understanding that 5 millifarad.
Okay. Now it's okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So here you have this energy of the capacitor which is given like this. So you can write this energy of the capacitor as T0 to T1, and then you can substitute VCT, ICT, dt, and then you can replace ICT d by the capacitor function relationship, where you have VCT C dVCT by dt times dt, and then what you can do is you can integrate these things like this. So here if you integrate this, you will get CVCT square by 2, and the integration is from T0 to T1. So basically the energy stored in the capacitor will be Vc square T1 minus Vc square T0. So this has to be kept in mind, that if you are integrating in between the two terminals or two time intervals, the total energy which is either absorbed or released is basically the difference between the two capacitor voltages which are given at time t1 and at time t0. So they are not multiplied. So it's basically the voltage capacitors at time t1 and t0. Okay. So now in case of inductors also the similar treatment happens. So I'm not going into the details of that, but you can see that for inductors also, here if I take this as a passive sign convention, then the power given in the inductor as a function of time is Lit dit by dt. So this is the power given in case of inductors. So here also you have different variations in the different variations depending upon the polarity of the currents and its corresponding derivative. So if your IT is greater than 0 and if your dit by dt is greater than 0, so in that situation what happens is you are actually absorbing power. Same interpretation as it was in case of your capacitors.
Sir,
Yes.
in the power formula, dt should not be multiplied, right?
dt means?
Sir, means you have written L I T dit by dt, so dt should be multiplied now.
Why it will be multiplied? Voltage across the inductor is L di by dt, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm using that voltage in power relationship, because power is V into I, right? So I'm putting that over here. Okay, so what you are
Okay.
saying is this one. Yeah, right. This one,
Yes,
right?
sir.
No, no,
Yes, sir.
no.
Yes,
This
sir.
is for energy, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
This
yes.
is for
Okay.
energy then. But I was writing for power at that time actually. Okay?
Okay, okay, sir.
So what happens is if your I is greater than 0 and the derivatives of the IT is greater than 0, absorbing power, and for other cases depending upon whether they are greater or it's less, you can now conclude whether they are absorbing or delivering power. So interpretation is same as far as for the capacitors and the inductors. So now for the voltages part, what happens is, like we have already discussed for the voltages. So energy and power for voltage sources. So energy and power for voltage sources, that for passive sign convention we were always using V0 as the voltage source and the current entering into it as positive here as I0. So as you already know, the current versus voltage characteristics of the voltage source is like this. So what can you say about this region where your I and V are positive? So what you can say is that in this particular part, it's absorbing power,
Absorb.
right? And in this particular situation here, where your I and V are actually both negative. So in this situation, it's all V and I are, V is greater than 0 and your I is less than 0. In this situation, it's always delivering power. So based on the phase, right? So for example, yeah, somebody was asking me last time, right, that if it is absorbing power or it's delivering power, then why we are saying this as an active element? The reason is, like, here in this situation, that particular battery which you are actually focusing on. So for example, if I am considering a specific battery, it's always operating in absorbing mode. So it's not changing, right? It's always in the absorbing phase. Whereas in case of this particular thing, it is always delivering power. So the role of particular battery is not changing in that DC circuit. So it's always constant. So it's not changing into absorbing power or in delivering power. Like for example, a single battery is not playing this role or this role together. It's only playing either absorbing power or it's always in delivering phase. So in that sense, I think that's why might be the reason that the voltages are always active devices, because the role is not changed for a particular voltage source. Whereas in case of capacitors, a specific capacitor, actually depending upon the time interval, it can either do this or do that. So that's why we cannot categorize it into active element, because that same element
Hello,
is
sir.
either doing both the jobs.
Hello.
Sir,
Yes.
sir,
Sir, in a DC circuit, it is possible to have a capacitor can change its direction.
No, because somewhere down the line in DC circuits, uh, if it is connected to some other part of the circuit, right, in which it is forcing the current to flow into the opposite other direction, then it might be the situation. Can happen.
Okay.
Okay.
sir, but in DC circuit, capacitor won't work, right?
The thing is, in transient phase it will work. Where you have, with long DC, if you are applying a constant DC voltage throughout, then it will not work, because it will act as a, depending upon the situation, it can act as a voltage source if it has an initial stored voltage, or it can act as a, open source. But the important thing is, if it's in transient phases, like when it is going from one voltage to another voltage, at that time it can work. So that is also some sort of AC voltage only, because it varies from 0 to something. So a transient analysis, which will be the part of our next lectures in due course of time, where you have a voltage like this and suddenly it drops. So in that phase here, where it has a voltage and suddenly it goes down, at that transient period, because this is actually a DC, this is actually a DC for a DC source circuit, but the moment it switches from a higher voltage to a lower voltage, this transient phase, the capacitor role starts coming into play. So that in that phase I am telling. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so so for example, if you have a circuit like this, let us say you have a plus 5 volts like this, and then you have a resistor like this, which is let us say its value is 1K. So in this situation, as per the passive sign conventions, if you go by passive sign convention, what we can do is, we can say, okay, this is plus, this is minus, let's call it as I1. And then for resistor also, we are assuming this as the convention for resistor, let us say plus minus, and what we are saying as per the passive sign convention, it's IR. As per the passive sign convention, I can find, I will tell you the other way around also of calculating this, but if you go by passive sign conventions, you will put these current directions onto the voltage and the resistor. So if you do like this, you can clearly observe that I1 is actually nothing but minus of IR. So this is as simple as that, and the current through the resistor IR is nothing but 5 divided by 1K. So that is actually nothing but 5 milliamps of current which is flowing. So as per and the voltage across the resistor is 5 volts. So the power absorbed by the resistor will be 5 times 5, which is equal to 25 milliwatts. So this is the power absorbed by the resistor. But in case of this, as you know, I1 is minus of IR, so it will be power delivered by the 5 volt source, and its value will be minus times 5 times 5, so it's 25. So the important concept here is that if you have a single voltage source, and the rest of the elements are R, L and C, whatever combination, so if you have L here, C this side, or C like this, so whatever combination, so if you have only single voltage source, it's for sure that it will always deliver power and the others will always absorb power. So if I want to show pictorially, then it means that if you have a network like this, an arbitrary network having any R, L and C, so if you have only one voltage source connected to it, then you can definitely say that this is always delivering power. But if you have a network, arbitrary network, and you have multiple sources, like you have V1, then you have a V2 connected like this, and then you have a Vn connected like this. So if you have multiple voltage sources connected to this network, which can be an arbitrary network having different combinations of R, L and C, then you have to calculate and see which of them are always absorbing and which of them are always delivering. So depending upon that, you have to calculate it and see which one is delivering and which one is absorbing. So for example, if you see this particular circuit here, if I draw like this, let us say two batteries, which is 8 volts, and then we have a 3 volt here, and then we have a resistor which is of 1K. So if you want to go as per the passive sign convention theory, then let us call this as V1 and the current entering into it as I1. Let us call this as V2 and current entering into it as I2. So we can call from our side only, we can call this as V2 as plus minus. You can call it any way around, but you have to make sure that if you define V2 like this, then you have to inject a current like this only. So this is actually important. And then we have another one V3 like this and current I3 like this. So based on this, you can easily see that your I1 is actually equal to I2, and they both are actually negative of I3. So based on the passive sign convention theory. And what about the voltage V3? Voltage V3 is how much? It will be 8 minus 3, right? You are going from plus 8 and then minus 3. So this voltage is 5 volts. So if it is 5 volts, then the power consumption by the resistor is 5 divided by 1K times 5. So it's 25 milliwatts. So it is always absorbing power. Whereas in case of this part, you have taken power across the 8 volt as V1 I1. So what is V1? V1 is 25, right? V1 is how much? 8. And what about current I1? I1 is negative of I3. And I3 is how much? I3 is 5 milliamps. So the power by the 8 volt source is minus 40 milliwatts. So it's actually delivering power. And whereas in case of 3 volts, what happens? It's basically again V2 I2 as per the passive sign convention, but your V2 is actually nothing but minus 3 volts. Because if you calculate V2, it is minus 3 volts. So that's why you are writing it as minus 3. And then your I1 and your I2 is negative of I3. So it is again, you have here 5 milliamps. So this is 15 positive milliwatts. So In this case, your 3-volt battery source is actually absorbing power, and this resistor is also absorbing power, and this is actually delivering power. So you can see, as I told you, like if you have multiple batteries connected, you have to actually see yourself how to, do the analysis and which one are absorbing and which one are delivering.
Sir, one thing I didn't get, that in 8 volt we got V1 I1 is equal to minus 8, which is V1 obviously, and into it I1 is just 5 milliampere, it is positive. And in 3 volt we got as minus 5, but we know that V1 and V2 are same and I1
No,
and
this
I2 are same.
minus is already there here also, here also it's minus because of I1 only. In this situation, the minus is coming because of I1 only. You understand? Because here you can see I1 is also minus of I3. So this minus is coming because of 5. But the problem here is it's becoming positive because the voltage that you have defined here for 3 volts is plus minus, which is actually different from the minus plus which is there in this circuit. So that's why a negative is coming because of this assumption that you have taken for passive sign convention in this fashion.
Yes, that the 3 volt battery is in opposite
Yes,
direction
it's
of the.
opposite. That's why.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
does it mean that the given direction of current in the question would not be the real direction of the
Yes, it
current?
can be, once you calculate, you will find it out. So let me give you another way of solving this. Somewhere down the line, this is a, yeah.
So can you explain how V3 we got equals to 5 volt?
Yeah, this V3 is 5 volts.
I do not
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
that.
So this thing is, once we discuss KVL, then you will understand it. But for now, what you can safely assume is, if you go from negative to plus, so what I do is, in my case, in other books, you will find different way out. We will discuss that also. But for my case, if you go like this, then you take a rise in the voltage. So if you go like this, it's plus 8 volts because you are going from minus to plus. So it's a plus 8 volts. Okay, and then
Yes, sir.
then you are at this point, right? From this point you again go to this point. Yeah, you want to go to this point, so you are going down the hill, like you are going down. So from plus to minus you are going, so we will take it as minus. So that's why at this point you will get 5 volts. Okay, we will discuss all this in KVL and KCL, but I was actually initially assuming that you might be knowing. No problem, we will discuss them in more details once we go to that chapters. But this is the basic concept which I am doing. So another way of solving this is, which is a little simple. Uh, if you know KCL and KVL, then you can easily solve it. This was as per the passive sign conventions. But if you do not want to follow a passive sign convention, then what you can do is you can safely remove all these conventional parts which I have drawn earlier, and even the currents also. So let me draw like this. Okay, so now what you can do is you can assume a current flowing like this as I1. As simple as that. I think you must be knowing KVL things. So from there we can go a plus 8 voltage rise, and then there is a fall of minus 3, and then there is again a fall of, because we assume always there is a fall in case of resistors, so we always write plus minus like this. So a fall is there, right? So if fall is there, then you can write the voltage across the resistor as 1k times I, because we have assumed I in clockwise direction, and we can put it as 0, and from here what you get I as 5 milliamperes positive. So whatever you have assumed in that direction, in that direction it is always 5 milliamperes. So now in case of 8 volts, if you see your current is going like this and it's entering from minus terminal or not. So if it is entering from minus terminal,
Yes, sir.
so we know that it will be negative, right, as per the passive sign convention. So power will be minus Vi.
Yes.
So if you put that value here, so you will get a negative answer, so it's absorbing. Whereas in this case, if it is going like this, so it's entering in the plus terminal. So if it is entering in the plus terminal, you have to put a plus Vi, and in this case you write 3 times
Yes.
5, so it's absorbing. It's actually absorbing. So in this way also you can do. In this way also you can do. So depending upon how confident or how proficient you are in doing these cases, I have shown you both the ways to calculate the.
Sir, but it's easy to go with passive sign convention now.
No, it depends upon your choice. Wherever you are comfortable with, I'm not restricting to go by this or that. I just showed you 2 ways. Some people like the other way around, so you can try to opt for any one of them. Okay. So for today's class, it's over, and I will upload these lectures as well as the videos. You can watch it later in case if you want. So let's meet on next week. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thanks, sir.
Hi, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.